And then right at 2 p.m., we should have some storms to the west of Kennedy, forced to the west by the sea breeze. And that's good news, because once they form, if that onshore flow keeps pushing, it should push it over and cause storms over in the Orlando and Tampa area, which is well to our west. The concerns and the constraints officially from the LWO are flight through precipitation, cumulus cloud rules. Those are the two ones that we are watching today when it comes to launch time, the T0 at 2:17 p.m. Eastern time. So for that window, we've got a 2-hour window to launch that runs to 4:17 p.m. Eastern time. And the probability of go is 60% in the early part of the window, and then improves to 80% in the second hour of the window. The backup day is on Monday. The probability of violation is 30%, meaning 70% go. And then Tuesday, if the team doesn't get started with tanking and there's a weather delay, should it come to Tuesday, it would be a 50 to 60% go, with a concern about cumulus electric field, anvil cloud for both, and this is because of the later T0 time for both of those. Winds are not a factor, just about 8 to 12 knots, well below the constraint for today, and winds aloft, fairly weak as well, which is expected for this time of year according to the LWO. Let's review what happened since our last launch attempt 5 days ago on August 29th. Launch teams have updated procedures, practice operations, and refined their timelines. Exploration Ground Systems technicians fixed a leak on the tail service mast umbilical by replacing a flex hose and a loose pressure sensor line, which is likely the source of the leak. They also tightened bolts surrounding the enclosure to ensure a tight seal so that when super cold propellants run through the lines, they hold that seal. And you're looking at the engine section of the Space Launch System, the 4 RS-25s in the center, the 2 solid rocket boosters to either side. The launch team will use different procedures to chill down the RS-25 engines that you're looking at today. Part of that is the kickstart bleed test, which they will test earlier in the countdown during the liquid hydrogen fast fill phase for the core stage that's expected to be around 8 a.m. Eastern. And of course, we'll track that for you. This will allow additional time to cool the engines to the appropriate temperatures for launch. It will use more propellant, but the launch director says she has enough margin to get through today's 2-hour window. This is the first integrated test of NASA's Space Launch System and Orion. Shot right there, that is the intertank umbilical, which carries the liquid hydrogen vent line and the gaseous nitrogen supply, which that is important and is in use right now, pumping into the vehicle, clearing out any cavities prior to cryoloading. The Space Launch System in Orion at the top is the first human-rated spacecraft to go beyond the moon in 50 years. And we're excited to get started. And so we'll track tanking. You'll hear me come on when mission milestones are reached, or if there's any problem, we'll talk you through it. Previously, there's been a fair amount of work for the team getting ready for this moment. Launch controllers have powered on the different rocket systems and spacecraft systems. And that's a lot, because as you can see here, this is one big rocket, 322 feet tall. This is the Block 1B Space Launch System. The mobile launch tower then rises another 20 feet or so beyond that. The total height from the ground, including the mobile launch tower, the rocket, the launch tower itself, 370 feet tall total height, well above the Statue of Liberty in New York City. You see across the bottom, we have 4 major milestones to tanking: the preparation, core stage LOX loading, core stage LH2 loading, and ICPS tanking. At various times, the launch team communicates various things that they're looking at and working, and I may pause to catch some of that discussion and then pass it right along. So let's get started. We're currently at T-minus 6 hours, 40 minutes, and holding. This is Artemis Launch Control. And we just received a go for core stage loading operations. Again, we are go for core stage cryo loading operations. Liquid oxygen transfer line is now in chill down. The liquid oxygen transfer line is now in chill down. We are go to proceed with core stage loading operations. Go for liquid oxygen core stage operations. Again, go for liquid oxygen loading into the core stage. As part of the new operations, they are also beginning to transfer um, a little bit of liquid hydrogen in the line. That's part of the chill down process. So both the LOX transfer line chill down and the liquid hydrogen line chill down are in work. Again, both LH2 and LOX transfer line chill down is in work. propellant for the main engines of the Space Launch System, the RS-25s made by Aerojet Rocketdyne. Hydrogen is the lightest element known to humans. In its natural state, it is a gas, but for propellant, the hydrogen is cooled to a temperature of minus 423 degrees Fahrenheit. The liquid hydrogen comes from a cryosphere, a large spherical holding tank that is 1,500 feet away from the pad. The capacity of that tank is 850,000 gallons. The Exploration Ground Systems here at the Kennedy Space Center is currently having that tank upgraded, not the exact tank, they're actually building a new tank, I should say, a new cryosphere, and that one will hold 1.25 million gallons, which is almost a 50% increase in capacity. That's important for the SLS program. The previous cryosphere supported the Saturn V rocket and the space shuttle. But in this case, for the SLS, the liquid hydrogen tank is 537,000 gallons of liquid hydrogen, the largest cryo tanks in a core stage or booster stage in the world. And so there'll have to be a significant more capacity in order to do a quicker turnaround after a scrub. In the case that a launch is called off and tanking has begun, new commodities have to be taken. They have to replenish the liquid hydrogen. They have to replenish the liquid oxygen. But the liquid hydrogen tank, because of its current capacity, that replenishment takes a couple of days. So there's a minimum of a 48-hour turnaround to get that cryosphere replenished. Hoping to have the new cryosphere online and operational in time for Artemis 2. This is Artemis Launch Control. If you followed our launch attempt on Monday, then you know that the liquid hydrogen loading started after they got started with liquid oxygen. But in this case, the liquid hydrogen ground slow fill is in work. That is part of the new process to chill down the upper stage piping and the liquid hydrogen separator. Getting everything on the liquid hydrogen started early. And the shot you see here with the core stage in the middle and the boosters on either side, those two lines coming out, one of them is the liquid hydrogen vent line. And so as the liquid hydrogen goes in, that tank is currently at ambient temperature, which at last check was 80 degrees. In the warm Florida air. So when eventually that minus 423 hydrogen goes in there, it will vent out that line that's carried in the umbilical, and that will then go out to a flare stack and be burned off. You can see it sometimes at night if it's burning some impurities. Hydrogen itself you can't actually see burning. The team doesn't vent liquid or gaseous hydrogen straight out into the air, they burn it off as it's vented out of the vehicle right there at that location that you're looking at. T minus 6 hours and 40 minutes and counting. T minus 6 hours, 40 minutes, I'm sorry, and holding. I want to give you an update on the core stage liquid oxygen tanking. Just a few minutes ago, the chill down of the lines that run from the cryosphere to the rocket has been completed, and now they are in main propulsion system chill down. What they do here is they allow a little propellant to flow into the lines and then into the main propulsion system, which is the plumbing essentially that goes to the engine. You have three major components here. You have the tank, you have the main propulsion system, and then you have the engines. All of them have to be chilled down to the proper temperature. The main propulsion system is basically the plumbing between the tank and the engines. And so they allow a little bit of liquid oxygen to naturally go into the line. No pumping at this point, but a little propellant flows. It flashes off quickly, so once it hits that ambient air, the cold gas that results is enough to then go through and chill down the lines so that when the super chilled liquid propellant is pumped through, it's not a shock to the system. For the main propulsion system chill down, they're getting the pumps running and just getting that gas in there to help condition the system so that, as I mentioned, it can handle the liquid. Up next will be the announcement of core stage liquid oxygen slow fill. That's coming up. This is Artemis Launch Control. T-minus 6 hours, 40 minutes, and holding. Have an update on the liquid hydrogen flow. Stand by. The launch team discussing a couple of issues, so please stand by. We have stop flow in both the liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen. So over on the liquid hydrogen line, there was a overpressure warning. This is part of the vent line chill down, so midway through the rocket, we have a shot of this one actually. No damage to the hardware. The system automatically put the hydrogen in stop flow, and they're currently working